Welcome to That's What She Said, where we'll spill the tea on women empowerment in the Great Lakes Bay region with your host, Christiana Malacara.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of That's What She Said. Thank you for tuning in and pouring into yourself each and every week. My name is Christiana Malacara, and I'm your host. I'm your girl. I want to say thank you. I know I say it so much, but sometimes we have new listeners, and they're like, what's this all about? And sometimes we have listeners who have traveled with us through this journey of That's What She Said since day one. Thank you for being here and present and just absorbing information. And maybe it's not for you. Maybe it's a piece of something that you take and you move on. Maybe it's something that you take and you're like, let me kind of save that. Let me push the save on Instagram. Let me push the save on YouTube and share that with someone. That might be you. Maybe our conversation has nothing to relate to you, but the next one might. The next one might. So the many ways that you can listen to us are WSGW.com and on the airwaves, Saturday morning at 8 a.m. and Sunday at 6 p.m. If you're listening to us and it says live, you may see us. We are on YouTube, Facebook. That's What She Said's Facebook and WSGW's Facebook. And then we also have our Instagram account. The Spotify, the podcast version can be found on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Audible. Now that I've said all of those things, let's kind of take that word that I said of like grabbing something, attaching it to yourself, and then moving on. So I have been writing down things throughout the week, and some of these words kind of are buzzwords. Some of these things are things that we pick up along the way. If it's scrolling through TikTok, if it is having a conversation with someone who's a dear friend, or just within passing and someone says something to you and it just kind of clicks. I've been writing those things down. And this has been therapeutic for myself, but also seeing a pattern in these words. And I recently sat down with someone and they were talking about this 1 degree method. And I'll just briefly touch on it. But when you're walking down your journey and your path, and maybe someone grabs your attention, or maybe somebody says something that inspires you, that, even maybe hinders your path. When you pick your head up and you look again and where you're at, those people have affected the path that you're on. If it's just by 1 degree, you may end up not where you intended on ending. And that can be a good thing. So throughout your week, let's think about that. How are people affecting my choices and my journey and my path? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it sad? Is it happy? Either way, you have the power within yourself to do that, to change your path and allow those people to enter into your life and change you for the better. So I am going to introduce a guest here who is a familiar face around the studio, yet we don't talk that often because she gets up very, very early. I have with me Miss Jodi K. Hey, Jodi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good.
What an intro.
Oh my gosh.
How long have you been doing this?
Almost a year.
You are a natural. Just listening to that whole thing, I'm like, impressed. Yes.
Well, thank you. It means especially a lot coming from you.
Wow.
To say that. Thank you.
I'm still wondering why you want me on the show.
So we know each other in passing, literally from walking down the hall in
Mhm.
opposite directions, because you're headed out
Yeah.
and I'm headed in.
Yes.
You're an early bird.
Oh, yeah.
Do not wake me up before 7.
My day's half over by 7. Yeah.
Wild. So I'm going to allow you the opportunity to introduce yourself, but how may the community know you?
Well, I'm Jodi K. I do the Moose Morning Show on 94.5 The Moose. Used to be WCEN, still is WCEN. And I've been on the air it'll be 24 years in August. And I work with a guy named Jim Biggins. He's well known through the community as well. We've been morning show partners for 21 years. Well, coming up on 21 years, which is unfathomable to me that we are the longest running morning show, FM, I should say.
Wow.
To be in the Great Lakes Bay region to do the morning show. And you'll see me out in the community at country concerts, helping where I can. And I'm just everywhere.
You are.
everywhere. I really am.
You are
Yeah.
everywhere.
I'm exhausted, but I love it. Yeah.
You love it
I love it. Best gig ever. Best gig ever.
for 24 years.
24 years. It's not all roses. I mean, because it's still, even I get up at 3:15 in the morning. I know that sounds crazy. I do have an alarm set for 4 a.m., but I never make it. I never make it to 4 a.m. And so it's still hard to get up that early. It is. After 24 years, they told me it'd get easier. They lied. It does not get easier.
Let's go get they and tell them they lied.
Yeah. Well, they're long gone.
24 years. That's as a millennial, that's rare because there's a statistic saying that millennials will switch their careers 6 to 7 times before they land on, hey, this is it.
Wow.
6 to 7 times.
That's wild. That's wild.
And I'm over here trying to fathom the idea of 24 years. So how did you, I mean, how did you get started?
Oh my gosh.
How did 24 years you say, this is what I want to do?
Right.
Or did you say that?
I had no idea. I had no idea. I fell into this. It was a total accident. You know, I worked for a company out of Bay City, J. Sanborn Entertainment Company, and I was doing DJ, karaoke, stuff like that because I could sing. I knew I could sing. There was no doubt about that. And I worked there for 8.5 years. And there were some guys that came in, and when I mentioned WCEN, we're still WCEN, but it used to be another station in Mount Pleasant called Hot Rock and Country, and I loved country music, loved it. Even though I was in the club playing the club music, and we mixed it up. But there was a station called Hot Rock and Country, and that was WCEN out in Mount Pleasant, but they sold it, and then they changed it to this name, the Moose, and I thought, what a dumb name, what a dumb name. And then there was these voices I heard, and they were Southern. T-Bird was one. He's since passed, but another guy named Bud. Bud liked the beer, Ford liked the truck, he called himself. And I thought, what? Where are my people at? You know, you get used to a radio station, and you've come to love them. They're your people. And these people came into where I was working at as a karaoke host. And I thought, what happened to my station? I was mad. The Moose? That's dumb. And then they're like, hey, they got to know me. And they're like, you want to be on the radio? I'm like, absolutely not. We used to make fun of radio people, you know, club DJs.
Yeah.
And they wore me down. So, you know, a month went by, and they're like, hey, we want you to come in and read. I'm like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. And so I came in. They obviously had to see if I could read.
Mm-hmm.
So we cut my voice down and on a microphone, and another month went by, and they said, hey, our consultant liked you, and we want you to meet the morning show guy. I'm like, I don't like him already because he's not my last morning show guy. You know, you become attached to your radio people.
Yeah.
Which now I'm in that position. So I met him, and he was exactly what I thought he'd be, arrogant. And I thought, I don't want to do this. And so then they're like, please, please, please. And then another month went by. And I came in, and they said, we want to offer you the job. And then I fell in love with that morning guy. He was amazing. His name was Keith. He was my first morning show partner. And he was a really, really great guy. And so that's how I started. It was actually, because I have 4 children. My baby, it was her first day of first grade is the day that I started working here.
Wow.
She's now almost 30. So yeah. So it's just, and it's been a ride because I've had 6 morning show partners. So it'd be Keith, and then Bud, and then Jim Biggins.
Yeah.
So the first time, he only lasted 2 weeks and got fired. The first time. True story. It was something dumb. And then he's such a lovely person.
Yes.
You wouldn't believe that, but the people who were running the show here didn't like something about him. But and everybody's gonna like you, you know.
So let's go back a little bit here, because you just unpacked a lot. Right?
I know I did.
You did. And I'm in awe because I'm here. I see these components. First of all, the Moose, yeah, that is a wild name.
I know, but it's brilliant if you think about it.
Tell us that.
Because you're attaching a visual. You're attaching a visual with that, a character. and he's a character. His name's Miles. I named him Miles. So
Miles the Moose.
yeah, Miles the Moose, because we have this giant 12-foot blow-up moose that we take out places, and his name's Miles. The other bosses, or my direct boss, we'll call him Joby. He does. I don't like that name. I'm like, he travels a lot. His name is Miles.
Yeah.
I call him Miles. Yeah.
Miles got miles on him.
But you're just attaching a character. And I thought, well, them guys were brilliant then. Yeah. But they taught me how to do radio all wrong. So, yeah.
So they saw something in you that you necessarily didn't see in yourself. You said you were this techie.
Mhm.
You did karaoke.
Mhm.
You were out interacting with people and in person.
I'm an outgoing person, and they also saw that I had a big following in Bay City, and they wanted that. So because they moved the station from Mount Pleasant to Saginaw here, and they wanted the Great Lakes Bay region, and I was tied up pretty hot in Bay City. I thought I was everything in Bay City. I thought, well, I could do anything, you know. I'm Jodi K, and I really did have that name at that time. And then that's what they wanted. That was nothing compared to what it is now.
Yes, and we'll tap into that in a minute. But here you are, you know, I'm hearing you say, like, I'm just a disc jockey. Like, I have this following, but like I was just doing this thing.
Right. I did weddings too.
And now there's this group of guys that you had already had this, you know, pre-made. I don't like them.
Right.
I don't want to be that person.
Right.
But yet they were pushing you. Was there a time where you were like, I don't want to do this because I don't want to end up like them? Or was it like, I can't do this?
I think it was, I can't. And I think that was the bigger picture. I think it was, there's no way I'll last that long. And I was told, you'll never make it in radio. Mm-hmm. But I see that person often, and I say, 24 years, what's up? Yeah.
Very Jodi K.
I've learned through this career to just go for it. And the confidence that you get, I mean, there's still some insecurities. I don't think I have a lot, though, in all this career. I put myself out there. The listeners know who I am and where I stand, and what I believe in. And for the most part, I mean, obviously there's some things I hold back, but not much.
Yeah. Okay. So you said that you had this connection with who you're listening to on the radio.
Right.
And now you're the person for 24 years that someone says, oh, I know Jodi K, and you've never met them a day in your life. Or I know, or she's interested in this.
You're going to get there. Trust me.
So what is that? Yeah, I guess in a sense, like, what does that feel like when people know you better than you know them?
It's a big responsibility. It is. It's I carry myself in the community because I used to be wild. Christiana. I used to be wild.
You used to be?
I mean, this is the team, Jodi K.
Oh, goodness.
When I worked in the bars and clubs, I mean, I was pretty wild. Yeah,
okay.
It was pretty wild. This is the tame me. And to see that I hold that responsibility, people are looking up to you. Kids, when you go out to the community and there's little kids and they sing that 94.5 the Moose, and you're like, wow, that's pretty amazing, you know. Although I've heard it 1,000 times a day for the last 24 years, and I laugh. Even adults, it's every age, but they're like, the big responsibility is the first time I heard someone say to me, Jodi K's having a bad day, just a bad day. And I heard you tell a story, and you laughed, and it made my day. And I was like, that's a lot. So I know when I go out to the community that I'm not going to be mean to anyone. I mean, unless someone, come on.
For those of you who did not see the video, she kind of rolled her eyes a little bit.
Yeah, like, I'm not mean. I'm not. I know that there's this responsibility to show your best side, because you don't know if that person's going to be a client. They could be your next boss. You don't know. They could be working with you and you're like, oh no. Yeah, you have to go for them for a job, or, you know, for a client or something. Like, I don't want to work with them because Jodi K was mean.
Yeah.
So I'm really not a mean person.
No, you're not. You're not. You're not. Not at all. You
Unless
truly
you
are not.
poke. Let's be honest, right?
Don't poke the moose.
Yeah, don't poke the moose.
So when was that flip? When you're like, I'm on air. I'm on the morning show. No big deal. This is fun. And then you realize, hold on, what I'm saying and the words that I say are actually affecting people.
Right.
If it's their day, their actions, what they do next, the mood of their day. Like,
right.
When was that switch? What was that pivot?
I was gonna say it was it took a while because at first I have no idea what I'm doing. I am not trained for this. I didn't know what radio was. I didn't know the terminology is way different in radio than it is working a club, and I'm like, I'm just in a room with a person. I didn't realize the impact I was having until those people come up. And they're like, like I said, Jodi K, can I get a selfie with you? I'm like, why? And it's, I mean, if you're consistent and, I think that it helps. I think, I don't know. I don't know when that pivot was. It's hard to say because I know it now. It's unheard of for someone who's never had any radio training, anything, to start on a morning show on a 100,000 watt radio station. And I was probably one of the first ones to do it in this area. I didn't know the impact of that. I'm like, okay, cool, let's try it, and the money was more. So I'm not gonna lie. I was like, all right, let's go.
Let's try it.
It's a little bit more.
You said, let's try it.
Let's try it.
Let's see what happens.
I've never been, maybe I've been afraid, but I can get up in front of a crowd, which is hard for radio people. I can do it though because I was trained for that, and I can sing. It was the talking, and when I first started, all they wanted me to do, they just wanted my name. They wanted my name, and they wanted someone to do the weather and the laugh, which I know about now because I've been in radio for a long time. I still feel new though, and then when the third morning show partner came, his name was Jim too, not Jim Biggins, Jim Bosch. And he was from New York, and he was like out there. You think I'm like, and I'm trying to keep my hands to myself because I'm really animated. He's animated. He said, why aren't you talking? You have 4 kids and your life is like, crazy all the time. He is the one who created the person that I am today. And to not be afraid like you said, you take something from everyone. He gave me that. And until this day, we're so close. And we're not close though. We talk. And thank God he was here for 2 years. And then he left. It was sad. And they're like, who do you want? I'm like, I want Jim Biggins back. And 21 years later, here we are. And I'm thinking Jim probably still mad at me for that, but we go.
So yeah, I guess, I said the whole, 1 degree and a path, and without even knowing that this is the conversation that we would end up having.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about how these people have affected you in 1 degree.
Right.
But have you ever thought of you're that 1 degree for someone else?
That's a big thought. Yeah. Because there have been people say, I'd like to do what you do. It's not that easy to get in here. It's not. And I know that I hold a very coveted position. I don't know. That's a big thought. I think I put that thought out a lot, that it's a big responsibility.
Why?
I don't know. I just think I know I impact lives, but I'm just being me. That's just me. That's just who I am with every aspect of my life, kids, grandkids, just people I meet. Jim. Yeah. Jim and I have been together 21 years, and that's another story. Yeah.
I feel like it's a whole nother episode.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it is. It's like a marriage,
Essentially.
You're not always going to get along with that person. We 99.9% yes, but there's days where I'm like, could you not chew so loud? Could you stop breathing? Yeah.
Just go over there. Sit in the corner.
Yeah. And I'm sure he feels the same way. But whatever we're doing is working. Working. It works.
So if there is someone that's listening, a woman who's thinking, I want to take that leap. Somebody's telling me that they see something in me that I do not see in myself.
Mm-hmm.
What would you tell her?
Go for it. It's scary. It was very scary to take that leap from where I was at to do radio, which I have no experience at all. And I am so thankful every day that I did. And those two saw something in me that I guess I didn't see, you know. And yeah, it was crazy. It's like, I think I try not to think about it too much, but sometimes I wander there and think, what if I hadn't done that? Where would I be? Would I still be working in the clubs and bars as a grandma? Yeah. No. You have to try. If you don't try, you'll never succeed. What is the saying? If you don't try, you'll never succeed, or something. I can't remember what the saying is.
Yeah, I think you're right. Something about and maybe
every time you don't try, you fail.
You fail.
Yes. Yes.
Every time you don't try,
you fail.
You fail.
Right. I think that's what the saying is. Don't.
If not, it's
close.
Quote by Jodi K.
That's my quote now.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
That's correct. That is. Hey, I was close. Yes. Thank you.
Jonathan.
Thank you, Jonathan.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Right. And that is something that has stuck in my head. Who was the person that quote? Who was the person?
Jonathan.
Jonathan. I don't know.
But that's true, though.
You do. And so, in any aspect, you know, listen, I was at a club DJ, and it was like the same every night, and I had quit drinking. I was following the path. Yeah, I mean, I was drinking and, you know, everything. And I'm not everything. I can't say everything. I don't do drugs. Yeah, let's say that. I don't need them. I'm high on life. But then I stopped drinking, and it was like, the same people, the same bars.
Routine. Yeah, it became a routine. And we're going to take a quick break. And we have Jodi K with us from The Moose. And we just talked a little bit about, let's say, happy accidents. And when we come back, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into grandma, maybe?
Oh, okay.
So stay tuned. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back on That's What She Said. Okay.
Coming right back.
Oh, hold on.
You guys? Take a deep breath.
It's because it's a worm in here.
It is warm. That is fine.
All right. I told you I'll run away with it. So you get to rein me in.
Said with Christiana Malacara is back. Now let's spill the tea.
Hi, and welcome back to That's What She Said with Christiana Malacara. We have Jodi K with us. Jodi K is someone, and I've said it in the first half, I literally just passed her in the hall. She works here at Alpha Media for The Moose. And she was sharing 24 years in a career. She was sharing 21 years with a coworker. And right before we took a break, we kind of just scratched on the surface, living a life and kind of ending habits. You said, I quit drinking.
Mm-hmm.
That is a very difficult thing to do.
Right.
Can you unpack that for us?
Let me just clarify. I quit heavy drinking. I mean, I like, a beer every now and again, but it's very rare. I mean, but there was some time I clarified because that was too much. That was too much. I was party. And it was like, let's take a step back here because I was going down a wrong path. And so it was the drinking, no doubt about it. So I just quit. Heavy drinking. I'll sip a wine.
It's a lifestyle.
It is a 100% lifestyle switch. I did have a major tragedy in my life that made me just quit. My mom died at 51 and from pneumonia, unexpectedly. That changed everything. And everything that I do from this point on, I always gauge it to, is it worse than that? Nothing's worse than that.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing that I've gone through in my life since that moment. But that was a moment where I'm like, okay, you know what? That was when she never got to see any of this career. She, you see, I knew I'm going to make me cry. I knew it. I feel like I'm in therapy. This isn't the funny Jodi K you hear all the time. So that changed everything, the perspective of being a mother, career. I'm like, I need to get out of this. I need to get out of these bars. But I didn't know where to go. And that's when these two guys stepped in out of nowhere. Every piece of your life and every person that enters into your life has a role, whether they stay or not, whether they stay, whether they go, whether it's a lesson, because one of them was a lesson, or, or they were there. But that day, the day after Christmas is the day I lost her. Yeah, it was unexpected. And that was a pivoting moment. I know, and I say that a lot because before that, I was not a great person with the drinking and just I don't care attitude, and I'm making up for all that. I think I've made up for it, but I'm never going to stop. But I think that changed me too. I need to do something with my life to change where it was headed.
That's a pretty heavy, dramatic turn.
It is.
Is it safe to say that your mom left and provided you with people that gave you an opportunity?
I see that now. I see it now. See, I told you I was gonna cry. Why? I don't cry.
Because the love for her mom is
you know that.
Absolutely endless.
There's nothing
in heaven and on earth.
Right.
A mom will move mountains for their child.
Right.
You as a mom,
yes. I look at it now like there was a reason why. I couldn't then, but I see it. Oh my gosh, Christiana!
And I'm learning this, that it takes time in these conversations that I have every week. It takes time sometimes to learn the lesson.
Right. Oh, she's been gone for 25 years, so that's a big lesson. Yeah, but I gauge everything that's happening in my life. I had teenagers. I mean, I'm like, is it worse than that? Absolutely not. You're going to go through that. I was like, not there yet. My son and daughter-in-law are going through that now. So, yeah. So, so I gauged a lot of stuff through that, and I never take anything for granted, ever. She was young. But I'll tell you, she lived every moment of her life. She was crazy fun. Remember I was talking about how I was crazy? Like the wild, and I was like hanging from the rafters and stuff. She was 10 times that. But she was fun. She was a great mother. She was a great grandmother. But I'm so happy and thankful. I see it now. I'm so thankful that she lived her life every moment, every trip. She had a gaggle of girlfriends. They went on trips. They went, up north. It was a girls' weekend, and she lived. So I'm thankful for that. But yeah, it's pretty. That's the hardest ever. But it pivoted. That moment was like, girl, you need to get yourself together.
Well, I see a lot of what you just described here as words that I would describe you, Jodi.
Oh, really? Yeah.
You go for it. You live life.
Yeah, I do. Since that moment, since that day. Yeah. Well, I think it was a month later when the shock wore off. Well, it's still there. But
grief is something that I heard, and I believe it was a guest that said, we always have it. You can't get rid of it.
Right.
It's just some days it's larger than others.
You're right. And I say that because I'm prepared, and I wasn't prepared for that. So now I find myself preparing my children. Listen, I'm not always going to be here, so just remember this and that. And, I have 2 boys, 2 girls. So I tell the girls, look for this when you get older. My mom never got to tell me that. And I'm past the age of when she passed, so it's kind of scary. And my little sister is 1 year away from that, so she's terrified. I'm like, it's going to be fine, But I always find myself just training these kids, like, this is what's going to happen. It's going to be the worst thing you ever experienced, but you're going to get a lesson out of it. But it's inevitable. Death is inevitable. And grief, you're right. It comes. Some days it's really big, but there'll be times where everything's great. And then all of a sudden, I think I was cutting celery for one day, and I was like, my mom used to do that, just bawling out of nowhere.
Yeah.
When it first happens, you think about it every day. And I have friends who've lost parents, and now I understand. when someone loses their mother, like a friend just lost their mother, and I'm like, it's going to hurt for a long time, forever. But the first 5 years is going to be every day you're going to think about it. And after that, you're going to be like, oh, I didn't think about it today. And then a couple of months go by, you're like, oh, I haven't thought about it. So, but you will. It'll come in waves.
Yeah.
But
I can imagine.
that is the hardest thing. Do you still have both your parents?
I do.
Okay. Yeah. Take lots of pictures.
I do.
Yeah, take lots of pictures.
Yes.
Tell them you love them. I know I have a friend that will fight with their mom. I'm like, girl. But they don't see it yet. So, yeah.
The lesson. The
It
lesson.
is such a lesson.
Yeah.
But-
So you are
I'm sorry.
a mother of 4.
Oh,
Never apologize. So you're a mother of 4, and you said you took on the job on the first day of first grade
Of
or
the
one
last one,
of
yeah.
your last child.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine starting a brand new career and you're like, I don't know what to do.
I didn't.
And then you have 4 little ones here.
Right.
What did that dynamic look like, and was that challenging for them?
Well, I was very blessed with wonderful daycare. A person in my life, Robin, and she's always been there. When I was working the clubs and stuff, I did weddings and stuff too. I did parties and weddings, so I was like the wedding DJ. That's very stressful, by the way. And so she was there at nights, and she'd spend the night a lot, And there were, like, back in the day, like I said, on those heavy drinking days where sometimes I just didn't come home. That's sad. That's sad. She was there, and she always came back. I'm like, I'm sorry, Robin, But like I said, that pivoting moment made me go, I can't do that. I got to stop. So, but I had great daycare. She was there, but when the first day, and I was shocked, and I remember exactly the moment and where I was standing when I was offered the job. We were outside of the new studio. We had the big picture window where we can see the parking lot of everybody coming in. We were standing out there. We were all smokers. I'm not a smoker anymore, but we were all smokers, and we were smoking. And he said, we'd like to offer you the job. I'm like, what? And I'm thinking, okay, now I have to pivot again. I guess that's the theme today. Pivot to working overnights to now working during early morning. I used to go to bed 3:00 in the morning. Now I'm getting up
And
at.
now those girls get
Well, I didn't get because the Moose Morning Show didn't start at 5 a.m. then. It started at 6. But now it starts at 5. But so the daycare woman, she did pivot with me, so she'd be in to get the kids off on the bus. And off to school, because they're all 3 years apart. So Kennedy would have been 6, Chad is 9, Ashlyn 12, and he was 15.
Wow.
So I mean, they could pretty much take care of themselves except for the baby. And then I had a man in my life, and he didn't work during the morning, so we kind of let her go. And it was a sad moment because she'd been with us for so long, and she'd been through everything with me. The good days, the bad days, So I give all kudos to her. So I sold her my car for $1 because I got a new car, and she always had bad luck with vehicles. So I signed over the title. I said, give me $1 for what? I'm like, just give me $1. And I signed the title over, and I'll never regret that. I said, we don't need you anymore, and I'm very sorry. The kids are grown. She knew it was coming.
Yeah.
She knew it was about time.
She helped raise them.
She did. And now she's a mom. So it's been amazing. But to do that, that's a core memory for me, to be able to do that for someone. Yeah. And it's, yeah.
So that person who helped you during that time that, you took an opportunity, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes as women, when we take opportunities, we have to change our routine. We have to.
I did.
Yeah, you dramatically.
Yeah.
Was there a time where your children were like, Mom, I don't like you doing this, or I love you doing this? Was
They
that
loved it.
ever? Oh,
They love it. They still do. I think the moment I knew that I had made it with my kids was when we went to the Shrine Circus here at the Delaware Center.
yeah.
And I was invited to come into the center ring and introduce the circus. My kids thought I was oh my gosh, my mom just introduced the circus.
She's the president.
Now, the oldest one, 15. Yeah, no, he was like, yeah, because he was at that age.
Yeah.
But the younger ones were like, this is the best day ever. They pivoted with me. And although it's funny because my youngest son, who's now a dad of 2 and married, and when he was in high school, I think it was his senior year, and his car had broke down, and he was in choir and all that, and great kid, great grades and all that. I had to pick him up in the Moose van one day. He says, "Can you come get me? My car broke down. It's in the shop or whatever." And I'm like, "Okay, Chad, but I have the Moose van." And there was the old looking Moose van, not like the Moose truck like we have now, and the other van's good. But I pulled up at Western High School in Bay City, and all of his friends are standing there. He's like, "Oh my God." And so he gets in, and then the girls were like, "Chad, you never told us your mom was Jodi K."
Uh-huh.
And the next day, this kid's like, "Hey, I'm gonna need some T-shirts and some stickers."
Oh my goodness.
Because he was trying to get dates.
Oh my god. Well, I mean, hopefully it worked.
He never told anyone. Although they did grow up with, because they all went through the elementary and all that, and their teachers always listened. And like, "My teacher told me you talked about me today. Could you stop?"
They're putting in requests.
Right. And now it's past his daughter, the youngest. She just turned 8 on the 8th. I'm taking her to Applebee's today.
Oh.
She is 8 years old, and she's 1,000 times him. Because he was the one where, if you have a child, sometimes you want to hide for like, give mommy 10 minutes. I'm getting my payback with her. She will go everywhere we go. We're getting tickets at the movie theater. Do you know who my grandmother is?
Oh my goodness.
She's Jodi K. She's famous. I'm like, and she calls me Itzy, which is very, I'm like, very specific.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he went from, one kid was like, I don't want nothing to do with this, to I'm not telling anybody, to his child tells
Everyone.
Yeah. Oh,
She's so proud.
She is. She's a sweetheart.
That is a beautiful form of women empowerment.
What do you mean?
In the sense that you pour into people every day.
Yeah.
But if you look at your granddaughter, you're pouring into her directly. She's so proud.
Right.
When someone is proud of someone else, that's a piece of them saying, I'm open to this. I'm letting this action, these words, this whatever, maybe I'm letting that affect me.
Right.
And so if she is over here at the movie theater, like, "Hey, look who I'm with,"
she's
proud
8,
of you.
She's 8. I'm proud of her.
And so she's going to learn those confidence skills off of
you. I hope so.
That's women empowerment.
The other grandkids are like, although, I have a grandson. He's a bonus grandson.
Yeah.
And he said, "Can you bring the Moose truck?" Yeah. For kids too, to have that. So, wow, that's a good statement. I just thought it as, look who I'm with, like she was bragging, but I guess I didn't think about it the other way. So, wow. Session.
So we said, okay.
All right.
So let's go. For those of you who are tuning in, look at this,
Right.
And you shine light on. Honestly, if it's a good song, the good station, I saw you. Those people in your life that have shined a light. Okay, I can stand behind that. This is a good cause. This is a good resource. This is something that I believe in.
Oh, wow. Country music business, besides my own mother, who shined a light everywhere she went. Taylor Swift, probably. I mean, she shines a light too. I'm sorry, good example.
Locally, I know because I have the insight of
my night. I go serve at the Good Samaritan Rescue Mission. I go serve dinner. It's only 2 hours a week. I was specialty here out in the community, and my life.